Welcome back, my sweet mamas. I'm so happy you're here today. Today, we have an amazing and sweetest guest who came all the way from Miami to talk a little bit about her life. And her name is Mel, and I'm going to have her introduce herself. Hi, Mel.
Hi, my name is Melody. I'm so happy to be here, you guys.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here.
Yes.
Do you mind telling the listeners a little bit about what you do?
Yes, so I'm a mama. I'm a single mama. I teach Pilates. I also do strength training coaching. I'm based out in Miami, and that's my life. I travel to my clients or they travel to me in the midst of also taking care of my daughter and running around town.
That is amazing. How do you balance it all by yourself as a single mom?
Honestly, it's something that took time to do. I'm a Google Calendars fanatic. If I don't write it down, I will forget it. But I also make sure to have time for myself. I only allow myself to work until Ray is in school, which is 3 p.m. So after that, I can be fully committed to my daughter when she's out.
That's amazing. And how did you get into teaching Pilates privately?
So I was actually a bodybuilder since I was 19 years old. I was in the bikini division and I was heavily involved in the weight portion of the gym. And I was just obsessed with the anatomy of the body and building a stronger physique. And I found that there was so much sexiness to being strong. And so I loved bodybuilding. And then after I had my daughter, I realized I didn't have any core strength, like because of the pregnancy, of course, and whatnot. And so I fell in love with Pilates after my pregnancy. And ever since then, I stuck with it. So now when I train clients, my niche is women. That's my niche. I mean, I train everyone, but I love training moms, women, or pregnant women because I just understand. I feel like I can offer that much insight and education. I know I've been there, I've been through it, and I also know the female body, and I feel like I can connect better with women and that in that realm.
You see, that's such a good point because I've worked with different personal trainers, and though they're amazing, many of them don't know the physical bodies of women, especially after having children. There's diastasis recti, there's so many different things that people don't really know about. So, someone who's been through it's better to go with someone who knows the body. And so that's amazing that you do that.
Exactly.
So what inspired you to become an instructor? I understand that you started as bodybuilder, but like
Yeah.
what inspired you to go and become this instructor?
I realized that my voice is a lot more powerful than I thought it to be. And I wouldn't say that I'm shy. I am a confident woman, but I'm not a loud speaker. Like if you know me, you know, I don't yell. I'm not a confrontational person. And I think that's actually a strength. Some people think it's something to work on. I love that about myself. But with that being said, after finding my voice, and seeing how I could lead women in a soft way, I feel like that's what made me fall in love with the industry. I remember the first time I tried to do my mock class, I was so nervous and I had my friends and I couldn't talk. I was just so anxious and worried and I don't know what, but once I found my voice through teaching, I just fell in love with it and I've helped so many women I feel like in this world and I feel like I teach with so much peace and I slow down a lot. I like to teach things one by one. Every cueing that I do, I like to do be very hands-on. And if you're new to Pilates or if you've done it a million times, I feel like I'm that instructor who can just kind of help alleviate any questions you might have. And the hard part about teaching a class in particular is that you have some people who've been there for years, who know what they're doing. Then you have people who are new. So you have to, every routine that you do, you have to adhere to your crowd. And while you might want to do an exercise that's really advanced, you always have to offer the modifications for those who are new so they don't feel singled out. So they always want to come back, which is also why I teach privates now because I just want to give you that one on one experience. I find that's my strength.
So you started with classes and then you moved on to do private.
Yes.
That's amazing because I remember after having my baby, I felt really uncomfortable going into a Pilates class
Yeah.
because everyone is fit and there's different body types
Yes.
and I remember going to the back, but the instructor at the time, she literally walked around and she came to me and she made me feel seen. And to feel seen, especially as a new mom, there's no price on that because we
No.
feel so alone. And so to feel seen and the fact that you get to do it privately, you get to have people feel seen.
Exactly. I remember one of my clients at the end of class, she just asked me a side question about the breathing because Pilates, a lot of it is breath work.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
yeah, so a lot of it is the exhaling and inhaling is so important to get you through your exercise because it's what's going to allow you to perform the exercises for a longer period of time without being tired and connecting your breath to your core. A lot of the core comes from breathing. And so in the beginning, I like to start my classes with place your hands on your rib cage. And I try to establish that mind to muscle connection. And at the end of a class, a mama came up to me and she was so sweet. She was just like, "This is my first time. I just had a baby. This is the first time I stepped out. XYZ. I can't really get down the breathing." And I'm like, "Okay, class starts in 5, but let me pull you aside." So I pulled her aside. I'm like, "Okay, copy me, put your hands here." And we just had about 2 minutes of breath work. In that moment, we still talked to each other. She reached out, she left the sweetest comment and was just saying that things like that are why people come back, and it made her fall in love with the whole idea of Pilates, and she did feel seen and she wants to come back. And then she found out I was a mama, which made her love it even more because it's like there's hope, because at beginning time after you have your kid, it's really hard to step out. I remember going to the gym and feeling so self-conscious. My leggings didn't fit me, my sportswear didn't fit. I just wore big t-shirts. I felt it was so hard and scary, so it's nice to have someone to essentially hold your hand through it.
100%. And I've heard stories, some instructors, they could be, on the spectrum where they could be a little too harsh.
Oh
And,
gosh, yeah.
but I think the instructor can make it or break it for a person.
Yes.
It's I've been to many different classes now. So
Yeah.
even when they give a shout out, like, good job,
Yeah.
Nicole, you're doing like, it's
Exactly.
just like, yes, I'm doing a good
Yeah, like
job.
she sees me.
Yes.
Yes,
It's all
yes.
about being seen and caring
Exactly.
about what you do. And I can tell you are super passionate about what you do. And I think that's very important.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So after you had your baby, how did you get back into your confident self? And did you just push yourself to work out? What was it that you did?
It was finding movement every day and celebrating the small wins because I struggled with body dysmorphia after being a bodybuilder, because when you're on stage you're this tiny thing. Your body fat percent is about 11% as a woman. For males it's lower. And then you reverse diet to get back to a healthy state of body, because you're not supposed to be that low for that long. And so I struggled with that. And then after having my daughter, I really struggled more. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt so I would say these awful things to myself, like you're ugly, you're fat. And as a woman, and I was just my own worst enemy. And literally I realized through loving yourself, that's the only way you can make it through. You have to truly love every series that your body allows you to go through. And then I had to look at my daughter, and she's what made me love myself again. I'm like, I made this beautiful being of light, and her name's Ray of Sunshine. That's what she is. And I said, how dare I talk to me like this? And that's when the superpowers kicked in. I would never let her speak to herself like that. And you do have to love yourself and honor every season of your life, especially as mothers, because yes, you go from this to that, but if you don't love the chapter that you're in with your looks, you're not going to be able to move forward to another one because you don't do it in a healthy way. So I started feeding myself whole foods, nutritious foods, and eating to be healthy. And then over time, just finding movement through every day. Slowly, I started to lose weight, but then I realized it's not about losing weight. Confidence is how you carry yourself. Like, I'm a mother. I would go to the gym wearing my daughter on the vest, and I would be lunching, doing anything I could while having her. And I was going to
Oh my
boxer gym at the time, and I was wearing this baby, and these guys are like, "Is that a baby?" And I'd have her in the stroller too, and it was like a community, everyone helping each other. I'm like, "Can you watch my baby while I go grab these dumbbells?" And there's just like big guy with tattoos, like what? He's like, "Okay," and it's Miami, so everyone, we
oh my
love. It's a
God.
workout community, but it's yeah, it was showing up every day, doing as much or as little as I can, but doing something and not finding an excuse to not get up and move.
That's amazing. Especially, and you were a single mom at that time.
At the time I was still with Rhea's father. We were together for about a year after. We have a great relationship. We're the best of friends. I have so much respect and love for him. We have the best co-parenting schedule and relationship, which I think is so important for parents who aren't together.
No, 100%. You don't want her to feel any
No.
type of way
And
from the
she sees the
divorce.
love that we have for one another. For her dad and I, we're again best of friends. We always have each other's back. Yeah.
That's amazing. And if I
Yes.
may ask,
Yeah.
do you feel comfortable talking about why you got divorced?
Yes. So I was actually divorced before I had my daughter. I was married at a super young age. I was like 22. I was a baby in my head now as a baby.
Yeah.
And we lived a certain kind of lifestyle. It's like lavish and partying and XYZ, all of the, I call it like the glitter goggles I had on. Meaning like the trips and the going out and the nightclubs. And it was fun at that time. But then I realized I kind of want my own baby. And my ex-husband at the time, he had his own, which is totally fine,
Yeah.
but I was kind of ready for mine. And the lifestyle didn't slow down, which makes sense for him because he was successful. He did his due diligence. He had his
Mhm.
babies, but I was ready for mine. And so we ended on a positive note because I was like, hey, listen, this is great now, but I want to have my baby. With that being said, so we broke up. I stopped partying because it was just so much of it for a whole year and actually won my bikini competition. And after that time of through that year of sobriety, I found my relationship with Jesus. Everything changed. And then that's when I truly feel like God said, you're deserving of a baby now. Your home is healthy. Here is your baby. And then I got pregnant after.
Wow. So
Yeah.
I have a question because I know bodybuilders, they live a very specific lifestyle,
Yes.
but you mentioned that you were partying a lot.
Yes.
How does that work together?
So I would eat food before going to the restaurant because a lot of our lifestyle included going out to dinners or, I mean, lots of dinners, let's just be honest. So I would eat before you'd have to order specific meals. I would be that person who wouldn't eat, but I was able to establish this confidence and strength to be able to go out and eventually say no to the drinking, to everything that was offered. And in the beginning of that, and it was almost like my outlet bodybuilding is kind of what saved me because I was getting lost in the sauce of going out so much. And it was kind of my excuse because it was almost society didn't want to hear you say, oh, I just choose not to, as opposed to, well, I have a competition, so I cannot drink. Oh, sorry, I have a competition. No, 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 no. And so the
Uh,
no's came about by me blaming. They would see me working out so much and training. And again, I had done a couple competitions and I would lose because I would be drinking. I would go out, work out, and then you drink. And then guess what you do after you drink? You want like a pizza or something.
yeah, something greasy.
Yeah. So it just went hand in hand and it helped me build the strength to say no, which was a hard thing for me for a long time. And through the no's, I got blessed with so many things. I found my voice. Got my baby. Left a relationship and nothing, not that it was crazy bad. Again, it's just, I wanted to have my baby,
Yeah,
you
no, and
know?
as you should. Listen, I
Yeah.
understand that. You know what's funny? Everybody is different. And for me, it's hard for me to say no to food. I've always loved food. I
Right.
can say no to drinks,
Yeah.
but the pizza, leave on the table.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Bring it here.
yeah, like I love to eat, and I've always struggled as a little girl with food.
Mm.
And I have a lot of body dysmorphia trauma and things of that sort. But when you say you have body dysmorphia, how does that meaning how do you feel? Is it you felt like you were too small? Like what do you mean by body
So when I
dysmorphia?
had body dysmorphia, it was when you reverse diet off of being on stage, you're at the most fit version of yourself you could be. But again, I don't believe that's a body fat percentage to stay at year round. And so I would almost also have like two sets of clothes. When I'd step on stage, I was a tinier version. And then my day to day, which was a normal figure for me, I'd wear those clothes. But I would look at the tinier ones and almost be upset that I couldn't fit into them. And it was like this mental struggle in my head. And then finally, again, over time, over speaking positively to myself and also through through Jesus, because you see yourself as his daughter. And so you realize you are created 100% perfect in his image. And when you truly realize and accept that, then that's when the self-love and the healing comes in. No matter how you look, everything's a chapter. Nothing is forever. Nothing is permanent. And at whatever season that you're in right now, if you love yourself strong enough and through the power of Christ, you can get yourself out of anything. And so now, excuse me, I learned to love myself in every chapter. And that's the only thing that's healed me because I found every excuse to be mad at everyone and myself when there's no one to be mad about. You just really have to love yourself in every chapter.
But can you give advice for a mom who might not love herself in the moment? How do you find love for yourself?
As up for a mom in particular, because that's what happened to me in that moment of not loving myself. What the only thing that worked is looking at your baby that you created and just give yourself a hug because I just got the chills right
Me
now.
too. Me
Yeah,
too.
because like if you can't find it from within, looking at that little creature
Wow,
that
I
you
have
made it,
goosebumps all over.
yeah, it's just the only thing. Like you have to love yourself because they feel it and they feel you walking around sad, feeling depressed for. And it's like, why? There's so much you could be depressed about. And if it's this, like that is just the devil really trying to take away your light that you could be giving to your baby. So whenever you feel sad, especially about how you look. And I know people might think it's cliche, but it's a struggle to think like that. And we're women.
Of
The
course.
only thing that healed me was looking at my daughter and like, okay, I'm not going to talk to myself like this because she's going to feel it.
Yeah, even if you don't say it out
Even if you
loud.
don't say it, like literally turn that front upside down. Your daughter or your son is watching and they're going to know. And then they're going to take that in. And I don't want to feed that to them.
Yeah, and when did you find like was God always in your life or
I always had a relationship with Christ, and it was kind of up and down. I used to kind of be upset with him at times during things that in my life, and I would blame him. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't a relationship. I always knew he was there, but sometimes when he was knocking on the door, I did not open it, and I knew I wasn't. And when I finally allowed him in, again, I was so thankful because again, he's always knocking on the door. It's just up to you to open it up, and we have the best relationship because it's real, it's pure. I can talk to him about anything and everything. Even when I'm upset, I find myself, there's been times where I would just sit there and I'll be upset with him. Like, how could you let this XYZ happen in my life? And then I kind of get a grip and I kind of laugh at myself and I'm like, thank you. Because he flips my vision to see things truly for what they are. And people, like through him is how I was able to find the strength to get a divorce. And through him, I found the strength to get through motherhood. Through him, I found the strength recently again. I just got out of a relationship. And if it wasn't, and I lost myself in that, I lost myself in that relationship again because I put on those glitter goggles and I allowed myself to be blinded by things that were so not important. And as I started finding my voice, as I started talking to God again, he literally gave me the strength to be able to get up and go and rebuild.
that's amazing and I'm sure you teach that to your daughter as well.
Absolutely. And if I can't teach it to her, if I don't show it, if you don't walk the walk, your daughter's going to see that. So I have to practice what I preach and and the only thing that's gotten me to where I am today is God.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And you've really come a long way.
Yeah, a
You
very long
know,
way.
I can tell you have a very strong aura, very strong energy about you
Thank you.
that even though you said you're not
Yeah,
confrontational,
no,
you're a strong one.
I am. I'm a strong one for
You
sure.
definitely are.
Yeah, it's you when you would look at me, you'd never think that this girl's been through XYZ. And I think my life has been a roller coaster of a beautiful life, but all of the things that I went through, I truly believe the purpose was so that I could be a stronger mom for my daughter. So back to me having arguments with God before, like, why would you put me through this? Why would you allow this to happen to me? No, my perspective shifted and it's like, thank you for giving you picked me because now I have the strength and I am healed. I'm truly healed and I can sniff any evil from a mile away. And I know that, I mean, as far as for my daughter goes, everything I went through is not going to touch her ever
I
because
love
I
that.
went through it.
Yeah. And how do you stop this when you sense someone is being evil?
I'm a leaver. I will go. If I feel something bad about you, again, back to me not being
Yeah.
confrontational, I won't yell at you per se. I'm anything. I might cry. I'm a emotional girl, but I will just leave. I will leave friendships. I'll leave relationships if I feel like there's toxicity. Don't get me wrong. It's hard and it takes time. But if I leave, I want to make sure it's with 110% of my being. But so the way I get dismiss it is I literally just remove myself. That's it.
So you see, I have a different outlook on this,
Tell
and we
me.
can definitely agree to disagree on this.
Yeah.
But, I've had friends where there were disagreements and I didn't really like sometimes how they would react, for example.
Right.
So, like you, I used to also like put my hand in the sand, but I also learned that if I really care about this friendship enough, I'm going to talk to them first. So,
Mm,
for example,
mhm,
I actually had a situation where she said something that offended me. She
mm.
didn't mean to.
Right.
There's a difference. When you do things on purpose to hurt someone, that's not someone. But if you know
Yeah.
that they didn't have malintent and they meant well, I think it's important to sit down with them and say, that really offended me when you said
Mhm.
X, Y, and Z. If they get defensive, then that's not somebody I want in my life.
Right.
But if they go, I am so sorry and I genuinely did not mean that. And I meant this, I meant that. And there are so many situations where certain friendships could have ended over something so small, but because I opened my mouth, they couldn't read my mind. They didn't know they offended me because they didn't
Yeah.
mean to.
Yeah.
But certain things that I might say might offend someone else. And it's happened to me on my podcast where I've spoken about someone and I was excited for that person that I spoke about to hear the podcast, the episode.
Yeah.
And then in return, they're so mad. They're like, what did you talk about me?
Oh my
Right?
goodness.
And I'm like, and see some people, and I'm learning, they prefer not to be spoken about. They're more private.
Mm-hmm.
And even though there was no malintent, I still hurt their feelings or I still offended them.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think communication is also so important, especially
Absolutely.
when you care about that relationship.
With friendships, and I totally agree with that. With friendships, I've had a few friends. I'm blessed. I have such a great circle of friends.
So
My
important.
village here is everything. My family doesn't live here.
Where
So,
are they?
no, they're all in. So, my parents, God bless their soul, they're not with me anymore. My
Oh,
my
sorry.
dad passed away uh, in the middle of my pregnancy, and then my mother passed away about a year after. So,
Sorry.
no, thank you so
They
much.
are watching over you and your
Yes.
daughter constantly.
They are. They are. I wish they were here, but they are. But with that being said, my sisters and brothers are in on the West Coast. So my village here that I have, I'm so blessed. They help me watch my daughter if I need to do this. When I have to move in, had to move into my new place. One of them took her to the beach for 5 hours. It's just, I'm like, hey, can you pick her up from school? My client switched, and it's a team of us raising her. And it's when they say your village is everything, it's true. The community that you have, it can make you or break you as a mother. But back to communication with friendships. Again, so when I say I'm a leaver, I will leave something if it ends up being toxic, but I'm also a forgiver. I believe in second, third, fourth chances. Some would say a little too much. I'm a little too forgiving, but it's okay because it works for me. And but I do believe in communication and forgiveness. There's been so many friendships too that the longer you're with a friend with someone too, there's going to be experiences, things that happen that you might not agree on.
Right.
And there's a couple of friends through communication and things that have happened that's made us stronger. And let's be honest, I feel like it's almost harder for a friendship breakup than a breakup with a man.
Yeah.
Like that is the hardest thing to do. And I believe if we're over here forgiving these men for doing outrageous things back to back, why can't we forgive our friends for a misunderstanding?
Right.
So I believe in forgiveness and friendships, but again, to an extent. But I will give them more than not even just a second chance, a third or fourth, until again, like you said, until I feel that that was intentional. Bye. But if it wasn't and you truly made a mistake, honey, that's what friends are for. We're all here. We make mistakes.
Right.
Just walk me through it.
Right.
And we're
Go ahead.
and we're also growing as the years go by. So maybe something that you could say to your friend before, act a certain way, worked for them then, but maybe now it doesn't. So you just grow with your friends too. And that's why, communication is so important.
1000%. And another thing that I've learned is when you do have a friendship break up, you see a lot of the true colors after the breakup. How are they acting
Yes.
after? Are they starting smear campaigns? Are they going and trying to befriend people you weren't friends with to get under your skin? And that shows you that you made a good decision.
Yeah.
But there are times where like I had to have go through a friendship breakup and they were so amazing after the breakup. They just were living their life. They wished me the best. And I almost wanted to reach out and friend them again.
That happened to me. I had a friendship breakup and it turned out being just a break because we both miss each other and loved each other so much that we're like, hey, how are you? Good. How are you? I'm sorry. Can we be friends again?
Aw.
So luckily it wasn't a breakup. It was just a break, but I agree. And again, maybe sometimes that's needed. Sometimes you need a break to remember why you love them or to see maybe this didn't work out. But if something's meant for you, it'll always come back.
1000%. I could not agree more with you. And also, I also feel that, so this is funny. I had a matchmaker come on the podcast one time and she told me something that I never knew. But when you, for example, when you first start dating a guy, you get these like butterflies in your stomach sometimes. She goes, when you feel that, you need to run away. That's your body telling you that that's not a good thing. It's your body warning you. I was shocked. And it's funny because like when I think back when I did get those butterflies, those were the worst relationships for me at least. So I kind of,
you know what? I'm going to have to agree with you.
but we don't think, society's like, oh, those butterflies. She's like, no, that's not a good sign. That is your gut, literally your body.
Yeah.
As women, God gave us this gift of the gut.
Intuition.
Men don't have that. Us women. We know things before we even find out.
Oh yeah.
So that is our body telling us run. run away.
I
The-
could I could I could totally agree with that, and I wish I would have known that. Now I know that I'm gonna teach that to my daughter.
exactly.
Mhm.
And so now, when you're ready to date again, you have to feel safe. You need to feel like it's okay to be a little excited, but
Yeah.
like that butterfly feeling, we're like, oh my God, like it's not a good thing.
Well, I heard this saying too before. It's like, I don't want to be madly in love, and I want to be safely in love. I want to be
Wow.
peacefully in love. I used to think, oh, I want to be madly in love. He drives me crazy. No, he will drive you crazy. It's not, I don't want to be madly in love anymore. I want to be peacefully in love. I want to feel safely in love. I don't want anything mad about it. And we were taught this madly in love thing, and that totally makes sense with what you're saying. I don't want to be madly in love. I want to be peacefully in love.
See, that's a mindset we need to teach our children when
Yeah.
they start dating. I
Mm.
mean, I have two boys, but if I had, and I always give this advice because when moms come to me, I have a lot of single moms in my group, the Mom Dates Collective, where I do all the events.
I know it looks so beautiful.
Yeah, and we have such a great time. But many of them, they tell me that sometimes they'll meet a girl, another mom, or not in my group, but just in general, and they just don't know what to do about a certain situation where someone is treating them a certain way. And the best advice I could give them is, what would you tell your daughter if she was in your shoes? Because you wouldn't want your daughter being treated poorly by a friend or by a man.
No.
No, you'd want her to have that self-respect to get up and walk away.
Yeah.
And because you mentioned you walked away from a toxic relationship,
Mhm.
I remember my mom, she was afraid to leave my dad, who was unfaithful to her.
Mm.
And she was like, "Nicole, are you upset that I left your dad?" And I was like, "I look up to you because now if a man does that to
Amen.
me, I
Mhm.
know my mama's not gonna take that shit.
No, no,
And I
amen.
am gonna be gave me a good example." So I think that's very respect. It's not easy to leave.
No, no,
It's
it's
not
not.
easy.
It's mm-mm.
Yeah. And then also being a single mom in the dating world, how is that like? Because you've tried that before.
Right. So in the beginning, I was just not even, it was not on my to-do list at all. I just wanted to put all of my time and energy into my daughter because to live a life where so to start over, which is essentially what where I'm at right now, which is a beautiful place to be because you really get to rebuild and
Rebirth.
rebirth. Amen. That is
Yes.
the word of the season for me. It
Yes.
is rebirth. And it's so fun. Don't get me wrong. It's been hard, but in the best way because now I feel like a badass. Like I can
Ooh.
do anything. I've been tested so much and time and again. And now it's like I really truly believe I can do anything. But as far as like dating goes, for a little while, it was not on my to do list at all because it's just God has given me a sign for a reason. You need to focus on yourself and your daughter and your career and rebuilding and rebirthing. You need to make sure that you're okay before you put yourself out there again. And there are some things I needed healing from. And until I felt 100%, I don't believe that it was okay for me to give myself to anyone, even go on a date until I felt like I was healed from a chapter that recently closed. And so my only perspective, my prerogative was just to focus on me, my healing, my daughter, my family, Jesus. That's it.
I love it. And I'm sure you had hard moments, like you mentioned. How did you find motivation during those hardships?
It made me think about my mom and her struggle. Growing up, she was a single mom herself. And a lot of my favorite memories with her were when we had like nothing. We moved around so much. Hearts are God bless her soul. But some of my favorite moments were when we were in these tiny apartments, all sleeping on a bed, her, my older sister, and I. The little sister wasn't born yet. And I remember looking back now and thinking, remember after I had my daughter, I called my mom, I was crying. I said, how did you do it with two kids, single, as a single mom? This is so hard. And so I just think about my mom, if she can do what she did, like I can do anything. And I think of her, and then again, I find my strength looking at my daughter. And I know I'm more than capable. I'm not going to be a lazy mom, a lazy girl. And I want to set the example. And if I can do this, she can do anything. I don't want her to have to rely on a man for anything. I don't want her to have to rely on her friends. I want her to be able to look at her mom and say, Mommy can do this, so can I. And we're blessed again. So she has an amazing father. And if she doesn't need any man except for him, as far as I'm concerned, and he will provide. But we want to raise her to be a strong, independent woman. And to be able to allow that to happen, I have to showcase that. And again, part of the rebirth is me. This is the hardest I've ever worked. This is the most I've ever done. I'm tired a lot, but it is worth it. I'm happily tired.
Yeah, and you're very strong for your daughter as well. Has your daughter shared with you what she's been witnessing and how she's feeling? Is she open with you?
She is. So she's 3, she'll be 4, but she's very vocal. And her name is Rare Sunshine, and she is just that. But she has seen it, and I believe she is proud. First of all, there's this new energy in our apartment. It's the cutest place. And it's small, but it's perfect. She used to be afraid if I'd walk around the house before, and she would need to, she was like my shadow. She need to be beside me. And now she can be in the room or in the bathroom and not need to be by me. And that is such a win. But she sees how hard I'm working, because sometimes I have to take her with me to my clients, and thank goodness they're understanding. It's not all the time, but sometimes there's no school on whatever Friday. And I don't know these holiday days. Like, I'm like, what do you mean there's no school?
Apparently there's a flag day on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so you come with me, and she'll see, and it inspires her. And now she's like, Mommy, let's go do Pilates. Let's go do this. So she'll try to make a routine with me, and she's also so well behaved, and my clients will see her and they're like, she's amazing. She'll try to do the workouts with us. And I'm talking no iPad, nothing against iPads and the kids, but no iPad. She's trying to work out with us, and she sees that, and it excites her. And now I feel like she's proud of me. She can't really vocalize it because she might not even know
but you feel
how
it.
to. Can so feel it. The way she looks at me working out, she goes, Mommy, you're so strong. Mommy, look at my muscles. Like, yes, girl, we are strong.
You're building that confidence in her. That's
Amen.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do, mamas, build that confidence, because many of us don't have that confidence.
No.
So seeing you do that with your daughter is so inspiring. I love that. Another big issue that most women, specifically women, struggle with is comparison of social media. Have you ever dealt with that?
Yes. Yes, for
And
sure.
how did you go about it? How did you get better? Did you find yourself like going down a tornado, and
Yes, sometimes I call it like this black hole. So for
hole.
sorry, talk with my hands so
Me
much.
too, girl.
So like I get into this black hole of the scrolling. I'm sure as we all do. So little things, first of all, that I try to stop. My phone now, I put it in my nightstand drawer, and I use the Hatch alarm clock now, as opposed to having to rely on my phone, because when I would check the phone for the alarm, I'm like, oh, let me just go on Instagram. Let me do this. And that's a time where you have nothing better to do than to get into these holes. And it's so funny because as women, we follow other beautiful women, whereas men, they all follow beautiful women. They think we follow hot guys. We really don't. We really are obsessed with it. Can you agree with me?
I 1,000% agree.
Like, I'm looking at hot girls too, but except I'm like, oh,
But you're
like,
comparing.
And at first, and it starts from, because I'm a girl's girl. So at first it's like, oh, I love this outfit. Oh, I love this tan. Oh, what are her workouts? And then it turns into, why am I not doing that? Why am I not there yet? Why? And it's that whole, and being on it for a little bit too long. Yes. So I try to put it down as quick as I can. But again, I just remember, so with the social media thing, you really have to remember a lot of it is not real. And you put on your best face on social media. And I love the creators. There's certain ones where they post themselves essentially like flexing their stomach, and then they post themselves on their period, and then you're bloated. Like, you are not 100% all the time.
No.
And if I posted a photo of myself waking up day 2 of my period, first of all, I would never, because I'm being honest, but it's not the best look. And so I know that because I look in the mirror and I see myself, and not every day is a good day. And again, back to my daughter, and it's hard to do. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen all the time. It still happens here and there, but I just try my best. That's the time, as soon as I feel that comparison coming, put the phone down. Just put it down, because you can get into that hole, and then you're zooming in and looking at this and what is different. Again, God made you perfectly. You were created perfect in his image. And you just have to remember that you're literally perfect. You're God's child, and he loves you so deeply. And comparison is like a seed of the devil. It's just evil to do. It's when you're doing that, he's winning, and there's no purpose. It's this imaginary thing that's made up in your head, and it's easier said than done. But try to convert it to motivation, to just, okay, let me put that down. Like, first of all, I love me, but let me wake up and just get more movement instead of being sad about myself because I'm not that person. First of all, I'm me and I'm amazing. And second of all, let me get up and get outside. The sun will heal so much. Just get up literally and go outside. Honey, you will feel so much better.
100%.
You know?
I go to therapy, and my therapist, and I think everyone needs a therapist.
Yes, they do.
It doesn't matter how good or bad, it doesn't matter.
Everyone.
Someone neutral, because if I go to my girlfriends and I'm like, oh my God, did you hear like what happened? Me and my husband, we had an argument. They're like, oh girl? No, but my therapist will be like, Nicole, you were wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Take accountability. And I'm like, oh.
You're like, damn.
But I need that sometimes. But we need that sometimes. And a lot of people have a hard time taking accountability. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed that it causes a lot of issues in relationships and friendships. Oh, yeah. And I want my kids to see their mother taking accountability for mistakes that I've made. And I'm not perfect.
No,
God did not create us to be perfect.
no.
Otherwise, the world would be such a boring place. We'd be
Yeah,
like robots. Everything
yeah.
would be. So it's okay that everybody's different. It's okay that everyone has different opinions. And I want my kids to know that it's okay to be
It's
different.
okay. And there's nothing more beautiful than the story of triumph and overcoming. And so by not being perfect and by taking accountability, excuse me, on mistakes that you've made, on decisions that you've made that were bad, that's okay. We're human. It's gonna happen. But when you wake up and you take that accountability and you own that decision and you move forward and you take the proper steps to grow from that, that's where the beautiful stories, that's what they make movies out of. So it's okay to make mistakes, and that's accountability is the one thing that's going to push you further than anyone. As soon as that accountability hits you, that's when you're moving forward. That's when you make the decision to become better. That's when you look in the mirror. That's when you grow. That's when you're like, listen, I'm not going to live this kind of life anymore. This is not for me, or I've made so many bad decisions. It's time to wake up. That's when, again, that's what people write books about. So accountability it's a superpower, you
It
know?
is. It is. And do you feel that, as you mentioned, you changed where you used to drink a lot? What helped you stop that? Was it God? Just was it anything else?
It was, honestly so, yeah, what would help me stop, honestly, too for one, I kinda got tired of the lifestyle. Again, back to the glitter goggles, I call them. I was just everything felt so fake, and we were doing this I felt like I was in a twilight zone. So, we would go out and go to, these events and then party and this and that, and we'd go back home and then wake up and kinda do it again. I'm like, "What is happening here?" It was just I just literally got tired of it, and again, I knew better. I knew how am I gonna have a baby into this unhealthy home? And when I tell you, I've always wanted to be a mother. If I would go on a date, what do you want to be when you grow up? A mom, a mama. And I knew that I was making bad decisions, and God was not about to bless this unhealthy home with a precious creature of Him. So I threw myself into the fitness world, and it also made me feel better because the endorphins that you get that are released after you work out, it's like its own drug and you just feel so good. You feel like this high internally, and I would just throw myself into working out, and then I use the bodybuilding as an excuse to like, oh, I can't because I have a show because for some reason society doesn't like you to not drink. Like they will want to shove it down your throat. If you say, no, I'm okay, they're like, why? Why? They're so concerned.
Right.
Okay, you don't want
Are
a
you
shot?
sober? Are
Do
you yeah.
yeah, why are you sober? It's like, why do I have to be? And so now I'm at a point now, my daughter's 3, almost 4. If I go out, I can have my social drinks, I can have me a good time with my
Yeah.
girlfriends, our wine nights. But I know how to say no now. And I know that there's limits to things and you should not be, I don't you don't drown yourself into it. And also like saying no to events. No, I have something to do tomorrow morning. I'm not gonna go. Or no, 2 glasses of wine or whatever. And don't get me wrong, maybe a whole fun night with your girlfriends for a birthday party. It's okay to have that balance, but the key word is balance. When it's 100% your lifestyle every day, it's you lose your soul. That's the point of it. Should it be some sort of a reward or something social or yeah, like a birthday party, go crazy. But every day you lose your soul and
100%.
and your inhibitions do lower and you do get depressed. I was depressed, I was sad, and
It's a depressant.
it
Drinking,
is.
it is. The
It
next day, yeah.
so sad. Mhm.
But Mel, do you also agree that it also has a lot to do with the people you surround yourself with?
Absolutely.
Because I've been around people who are like, "Come on, have a shot, one shot," and then I'm on the fifth shot after. But then I
Yeah.
have the friends like, "Girl, I'm so proud of you. Yeah, you do your thing." Like, I think it has a lot to do with the peer pressure. Even as an adult, it's a real
Yeah.
thing.
No, 100%. And you'd be shocked at the people who want you to do worse are sometimes the people who are closest to you. And that's
Do you
what
think it stems
hurts.
from jealousy?
I think jealousy and insecurity from within them, and I'm not just talking about girls, I'm even talking about partners that some people have. They almost want to keep your light turned off and keep you in almost like a little bit of a cage. And they want
Why?
to see you maybe because they're afraid for the world to take all of to accept and experience all the good you have. And they kind of just want to harness it for themselves. And so they like to almost keep you tired because they're afraid of you are going to be out there and being 100% yourself. You're probably going to fly away because you're going to wake up and see like this lifestyle is not so good. And so a lot of times I feel like you just have to be, and that's the hardest thing to realize too, when someone close to you doesn't want the best for you and
It's hard to accept.
yeah, and they're peer pressuring you to do things that are not going to better you. And another thing, back to your circle, that's why it's so good to have your circle is everything who you hang out with, and to have certain people say, like, hey, you need to wake up, or hey, are you okay? Like, hey, things like that. And yeah, your circle is everything. And once you take yourself out of the negative people around your life, once you remove yourself from that circle, you really see a lot of things change because you kind of are who you hang out with. And if you're hanging out with someone who's doing all these naughty things, XYZ, how do you think that's going to make you look? What are they going to perceive you as? What are you going to perceive yourself as? And you're partying out every Saturday. You don't have time to make it to church on Sunday, but you claim to be this. You got to wake up. It's time to wake up and remove these people out of your life so
Right.
you can get back to you and
Right.
have people who love you and want to feed that part of your life. A real friend is going to say, "Hey, Mel, slow down," or "Hey, Mel, are you okay?" Not like, "Hey, Mel, let's keep going," blah blah blah.
Right. Let's have
Because
fun.
let's have fun. Just have fun. Who cares what you have to
Don't
do
worry about the
tomorrow? No,
consequences.
my real friends are like, "Melody, get up. Where's your client? You're this. How did that go? How did
Right.
they hold me accountable. My real friends, they hold my hand through the hardships, but they also make sure that I do what needs to get done, especially at a time right now. I'm in, again, a rebirth season of my life,
I love
and my
it.
friends are everything. They make sure that I do what I have to do to provide for myself and my daughter. Because again, it's so hard, but it's the best feeling. I feel proud of me, and I know my parents would be so proud of me too.
Girl, I'm proud of
Oh,
you.
thank you.
I love it. I love you're such a like I said, you are a strong woman. And just like you said, you're kind of like behind the scenes. You are a
Yeah.
very strong. You are, and especially for your daughter. And again, I'm gonna go back to the advice I shared. If you wouldn't want your daughter hanging out with those people, you
Mm-mm.
shouldn't hang out with those
Amen.
people. So like you said, God gave you signs that you kind of like looked away, and it happens. Don't be
Yeah.
mad at yourself for it. I've done it. We've all done it. But I think it's good that you caught it. Now you're a mama, right? So you have
Yeah.
someone looking after you.
Mm-hmm.
You're still remembering your mom. So you want your daughter to remember good things about you. And
Exactly.
so I had another conversation where I was speaking to a mom and I was like, I don't show my kids that I have a perfect life.
No.
I also try not to show that on Instagram. I don't. And I want my sons to see that it's okay not to live a perfect life. It's okay to have days that are hard days. And there are days where, like you said, you're not a yeller. I come
Mm.
from a family where we're loud and we yell and we are obnoxious.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I catch myself, I go, Owen, mommy's having a hard
Mm.
day. I have to kind of sing
And
it
you sing it away,
away.
yeah.
So he doesn't think, because he stops. He's like, Mom, what?
He's
And I'm
like,
like,
"Who is this?"
Owen, we got to stop, please,
You're gonna go in timeout.
Yeah, I love it. But then when he gets shocked for a second, because I really try not to yell, because that's how I was raised, and I try to
Yes.
be better. I kind of kneel down to because my son is 3, and I kneel down to him and I go, Owen, I love you so much, and I'm so sorry that I raised my voice. Mommy is having a really hard day
Mm.
today, and that doesn't make it okay.
Yes.
But I need you to bear with me today. I need you to use your listening ears a little bit more today.
Yes.
When you go down to their level, I don't want my kids to think I'm superior.
No,
Do as
no,
I
never.
say,
No.
not as I do. No, I want to be that
Mm-mm.
example for them.
Yes, I agree. So similar with Ray and I grew up too. I mean, I'm Mexican, so we grew up in a full Latin household. We were loud, loud and proud. The chancla was heavy in our house, okay? Like, but I'm not a chancla mom. I
Okay.
mean, yet. I'm just kidding.
I
No.
had a friend that the mom was Mexican. She would throw them and
She's
me
not
in
a
the house.
teenager yet. She's not a teenager yet, so I don't know. But the
I don't
chocolate
know.
came out in my teenager.
Oh my
but
gosh, because she didn't do the dishes. She's speaking in Spanish. I'm in the house like, what do I do?
You're like, you start doing the dishes. You're like, what am I?
I'll do the dishes. I'll do the dishes.
I'll do 'em.
Angela, I'll do the dishes. I
Yeah.
swear.
So same with Ray. I find myself too, especially now that she's getting older, and she's a really independent, vocal little girl, and even her
That's
school.
good, though.
Yes, and I always knew it, but I'm like, okay, I'm her mom. Maybe I'm being biased, but the school is even like Melody. Like she's a vocal girl. She has strong opinions on what she likes, what she doesn't like, and I want to forever harness that. If she says no, no means no. When we go to the restaurant, she knows how to order for herself. She also knows how to explain things she does like and doesn't like. And she's a little saleswoman. She will try. Oh my goodness, like the cookies before dinner. I'm like, Ray, it's time for dinner. No, I want the cookie now. I'm like, Ray, no, because it's time to eat dinner first. So eat like 2 bites. Okay, now I want the cookie. I'm full. But I said I'm full for the food enough. She's just trying to sell me. And I'm like, and
Oh
I'm
my
like, Ray, you were so smart. But no, like, dang, if I wasn't your mom, I would give it to you. But I'm your mom. So no. And she goes, well, I'm not going to eat. I'm like, okay, well, then you're not going to eat. And then 30 minutes later, Mommy, I'm hungry. I'm like, okay, eat your food. You eat the food.
Oh,
But she's just a
wow.
salesman. But as far as like losing my temper, I find myself more so, again, being a single mom. It's just me and her in the apartment. So sometimes I'm doing 10 things at once, and it's more so I will find myself getting overstimulated. And then it's like this and then that. And I'm trying to do the dishes while the laundry's running and my hands are literally so full and I want to like, oh, and same thing. I get down and I have no issue apologizing to Rhea. If I'm like if I do again raise my voice or something, she's like, Mommy, you yelled at me, and broke my heart. I'm like, I did, Rhea, because you didn't listen. And I'm so sorry. And I shouldn't have done that. But please listen next time. And I'm sorry. And again, mind you, the yelling is like, Rhea, but she thinks that's him. I'm like, oh, honey, if grandma was here, you wouldn't even know.
Oh my God.
Oh, sweetie. But I have no issue apologizing to Rhea and along with her dad too. We both parent the same. And again, I think
Amazing.
there's so much beauty and it's a lot, it's people make it hard to co-parent, but if you guys have, first of all, maturity and actual love for your child, it's not that hard. Him and I, we are on the same page always with our parenting skills, and we'll call one another sometimes if I get a little overwhelmed, like, Mommy said no, whatever it is. I'm like, okay. And she'll just, cry. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call your dad. And then he will agree with me. Cause as opposed to if he was in the same house as me, dad would come in and say,
Right.
I said no, or the opposite way, mom would come in. But it's nice to have that
Backup.
relationship. Yeah, that
Yeah.
backup. I'm like, your daddy said no too. And she's like, you know,
I can't win this
dang it.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, co-parenting for the moms who are the single moms who don't have the two-parent household, like it can be difficult. I find that that's probably where me being overstimulated comes from more so. But again, having such a good team player, because we are still a family, even though we're not together, doesn't mean we don't have each other's back. And it's like, it's such a relief to be able to like, okay, I'm going to call back up because girlfriend.
We're gonna be singing again.
We're gonna be exactly.
Oh my God, that is amazing. So, thank you for being here. I
Thank
love
you
this
for having
conversation.
me.
If anyone wants to reach out to you to have you come and do Pilates with them, how can they reach you?
They can. So my Instagram is at Mellies. My email for Pilates is pilatesmellies@gmail.com. Yeah, and that's everything. You can find everything through Instagram. I respond relatively quick to messages on that, but you can email me or find me on Instagram. I'd love to work with anyone.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And with your energy, I mean, I'm in Boca, you're in Miami, girl, but maybe we can find a way to make it work. I love it. I love it. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This was
love it.
amazing.
Thank you. And
Yes.
for all our listeners, thank you for being here. I cannot wait to see you next week. And I will link all of Mel's information in the description below. And remember, you're doing better than you think. See you next week. Bye.